everyone. Welcome to the SPAACES Foundation. If you don't know about us, we're in Sarasota, Florida. We're an art gallery and we're a not-for-profit, and we focus on supporting artists, many artists that are moving from emerging status to professional status in the art gallery world. And we're here today with Ian North. He's having a solo exhibition at SPAACES. His title of the show is called The Story We Tell Ourselves, and we'll dive into that title in a minute, why he named this show that. And I'll just tell you a little bit about SPAACES. We are a not-for-profit. We specialize in affordable art studio spaces. We help artists bridge the gap from, as I said, emerging status to professional status by helping them prepare for an art exhibition, writing gallery proposals, writing grant proposals, and many other things. So if you're interested, please stop by and see us. You can go to our website at spaces.art to check us out. And we have an exhibition or an event about once a month, and we have a YouTube channel, so you can check out our YouTube channel and see what we're doing. And we'll get to our interview with Ian North. So Ian, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for the show. I was so blown away by how much work you put into mounting a show. I never realized the tremendous amount of work that goes into something like this, and you did a fantastic job. It's a life event.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks. Well, I could tell when I was unwrapping the work that your work is just a life event in itself. That I was looking at the dates on the back, and I was just reading. I had to call somebody. I was like, I've been looking at this artwork at my sister's house. Full disclosure, everybody. Ian is my brother-in-law, and I've been looking at this artwork in my sister and Ian's home for years. And then when I was unwrapping it to curate it, to place it in the gallery, I was just overwhelmed with this is amazing work. I knew it was amazing work when we decided to schedule the show, but I was reading the poetry and I was putting it together with the music that he does, and I was blown away that you've just been working so hard at this for so long. Does it feel like you've been an artist your whole life?
Yes, but here's the interesting thing. I didn't ask Marianne to give me this show. She offered it to me, and I said yes. I've never really ever pursued galleries. I made everything for myself, but just entertainment for me. I was in the music business for 20 years, and it was bad enough chasing record companies. So this was my hobby, and I promised myself I would never try to sell my work. I would just, do it to entertain myself. So, but this was a fantastic opportunity to put a lot of it together and have it be seen by people. Unfortunately, we scheduled this more than a year ago before the pandemic. So, but all in all, I would say it's been a very successful show.
I think it's been really successful given that we have a pandemic. We did have Instagram Live the night of the opening, and there was about 30 people here in person to support Ian, which I was, again, surprised that we just had that many people show up in person the night of the opening, which was a really, really fun event. We had Ian's music playing. You gotta check out Ian's music. Where can they go to listen to that?
You can download my music for free at soundcloud.com/darkjet, DARKJET, because there is a Canadian folk singer by the name of Ian North. So
Darkjet seems to fit.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that? How long have you had that alias?
I've had that since really early, since about 2008. Most of my, and also to distinguish myself, most of my work is signed I.A. North. not Ian North. It turns out to be, there are so many Ian Norths. It's not just the Canadian folk singer. There's a young guy in Switzerland with the same name. Just, you go on YouTube, slightly funny story. So the Canadian folk singer, I would go to any songs he had on YouTube, and I would say, this is not the Ian North, because I'm vaguely famous for my first band, which was Milk and Cookies, and he got tired of me doing that, so he marked all his videos, no comments allowed. And you can find my music there and because there was I came up with the name Darkjet, and I had the website darkjet.com, but apparently there was someone who thought flatulence was very entertaining, and he got to YouTube before me, and he's Darkjet on YouTube.
Oh no!
So I'm a Darkjet on YouTube. That's my channel, a Darkjet.
Oh good, and your music is on a Darkjet?
On YouTube, and
cool.
And you could download it for free at SoundCloud under the More button. They don't make it obvious that you can download anything on my site for free if you click on the More button.
Okay, and what kind of music, what would you call it? I've been trying to describe it, and I'm like, kind of like dance music, but it's not real heavy, and I don't know what to call it.
It's a kind of pop music. It definitely, I recorded my first electronic album in 1980, before it was even a thing, and I went around in London to all the record companies, and they said, you can't make an album using drum machines, and now that's all you hear on pop music. But not good to be ahead of your time.
So pop music, but the lyrics and the vocals don't remind me of pop music for some reason. Well, I don't know a lot about music.
Right, exactly. It's not like pop music like you would hear on the radio. It's definitely outsider pop music.
How do you come up with the lyrics? And you record it yourself? It's your own vocals, right?
Yeah, it's all me. I don't play well with others. It's all in my school records. But I don't know, things inspire me. Even as a child, I would walk along the street just making up songs. I mean, I've always been creative. I think I started messing with art at around age 12. It's such a shame. I made a sculpture out of, they call them trees, the plastic that the parts of a model kit come on. Yeah. So using a candle, I would weld them together, and I had a sculpture of two gladiators fighting. But somebody knocked one of the arms off, so I destroyed the whole piece.
Oh.
I had my son, who's an artist, Sammy Thrashlight, give him a little plug.
Can we find his artwork online?
Yes.
Sammy Thrashlight.
Thrashlight, yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So and he actually does very well. He sells very well. It's very different art. Nothing like my art at all.
But what were you going to say? I interrupted you. When you destroyed all your artwork, and that reminded you?
Oh, because when Sam was a child, I asked his pre-K teacher, I said, other kids bring home artwork to put on the refrigerator. How come Sam doesn't? And teacher said, because he tears up everything that he does. And when I asked him why he did that, he said, because it doesn't look like what's in my head.
Aww.
So that perfectionism gene runs in the family. And that's another thing about the art. Most of this art spans 20 years because there was no gallery waiting for it. There was no deadline. So I would work on pieces. I'd hang them on the wall, and I'd do something. And somebody said art is never completed, it's abandoned. That could very well be said about myself because anything that doesn't sell in the show and goes back to the house, it would not surprise me at all if I alter it. I mean, I've even ripped pieces, apart. And so, yeah, things can change.
I saw that in some of your titles, that it's like piece from painting number 3
Right.
to
Yeah,
3 parts or something like that.
There's 3 abstracts that will all be torn from a larger piece.
That's cool.
So, yeah, so, you know, but the main thrust of this, what I wanted to get across to people, is about contemporary art. People go, I don't understand it. There's not going to be a test. You don't have to know what the meaning of anything. If it pleases your eye, if it excites your imagination, that's all you have to know. You don't have to give a piece anything more. You don't have to understand it. You can just like it for whatever personal reason you like it. You can make up your own story about what the piece is about. People have told me stories about my artwork, and I go, wow, you're right. I never thought that, but now I can see why someone could infer that from looking at a piece.
Cool, and so that leads to the title.
Right. The titles, these titles, so many of these pieces did not have titles. So I decided that I was going to give everybody a piece of music that goes with the artwork they made a purchase. So then I started imagining the titles as songs. So that's mostly how they got their their titles, because I thought, I even changed some of the titles because I thought that wouldn't make a good song, so it can't be titled that. So, and it really opened up a lot of the work for myself, thinking of it as a song rather than as a piece of art.
Oh, neat. So you brought those two
together.
mediums
Which
together.
I've been trying to do for a while. On the promo video that I just sent you, there's a song on it called "How to Draw Ray Johnson," who's the most famous artist you've never heard of. And
How to Draw Ray Johnson.
Yes.
And we're posting that video on our SPAACES YouTube station, and we'll be on all our social media. It'll be everywhere.
so I tried to do a
Ian's
piece.
talking about.
So I did the song first, and then I tried to do the piece of how to do, and that didn't make it to the show.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and that's been in progress for several years.
But it made it into a song.
Yes, it made it into a song. It just couldn't make it work as a piece of art.
Now, like, what about the piece behind you with the praying hands, for example? I mean, I think of them as praying hands. Does that have a title that goes with the song? I mean, I just thought of it as you were talking.
This is a heart, believe it or not.
A heart?
Yeah, to me it is.
Okay.
And you know, it's a prayer for love, something like that.
Okay.
But that goes back quite a ways.
What's the date on that?
1998.
That's awesome. It says, "Hear my heart." So that brings us to what a lot of your work is about: love, it seems like.
Yeah, I think we're all searching for love. We're all looking for love. I think it's to me it's the most powerful emotion that we feel. It brings out the best in us, hopefully. You know, if everybody loved everyone else, this would be a perfect world.
It would be. That's a nice thing to reflect on at this time. So, you know, so we have the piece, "Hear My Heart," and then we have another piece over, well, you can go to our website and see a picture of it, and it's called "Abuse, Not Neglect."
No, not abuse.
Not
abuse, but neglect.
But neglect. Can you tell us about that piece?
Well, a lot of people read into this piece. People see it as a very dark piece because it has a woman with a bird skull, and below it hangs a hammer that you'd use to tenderize meat, and there's a baby shoe in it, and
a skull.
right. So
But a little tiny bird skull.
Yes. So people always saw that as a very negative thing. They thought it was about child abuse. I mean, there were women that actually cried at it, but a psychologist explained to me, "No, Ian, you were not abused. You were just neglected." So, I was. Yeah, so it's not abuse, but it is, once again, it's really about looking for love. And as are, I guess, most of those pieces that I did in the 90s before I met my wife of 20 years. So, yeah,
Your
that's
wife, that is my sister.
Yes, your sister. Yes, your sister, your wonderful sister.
Okay. Do we have any questions by any chance?
Okay.
Okay. So, before you met my sister, you were married previously, and
Yes.
some of your work has to do with
Yes.
that relationship?
Yes. Yeah, in fact, but there's only one piece here. Humanity is enraged in me and with me.
I love that title.
When we first separated, I would send her a postcard, an art card with a poem on the back of it every single day, up until her attorney got a judge to say, no, don't do that.
You didn't want to receive your little art.
Although she held on to it for a long time, and one of my children told me that she caught her one day. She had set them out on her bed, and she was looking at them. So, but later on, she remarried, and she burned them.
Oh no! She should have gave them back to you.
That would have been the nice thing.
I love that piece. I love that humanity is enraged with me and in me, or in
Yes.
me and with me.
Yes.
Yeah, I love a lot of the titles. They're just so poignant, and like I said, they all feel like little poems. The titles, and then that has text right in the piece. And it's so cool.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Also a
okay.
question.
Yeah.
So, I'm noticing with your work, you have found objects, but then you manipulate them they're almost absolutely unrecognizable. I'd love to know more about your process of choosing found objects and the process you go through of changing them.
Right. I don't like to find an object that seems to grab your focus, and it's just something I found. I feel like I haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the found objects are even actually made by me from scratch. They're made to look like a found object. They weren't actually found. They were just made with things I had laying around. But if I do find an object, I try to transform it and truly make it mine. Like, for example, there was one piece that I was bothered by because the focus was on a toy tiger, and that's kind of dumb. So I ended up cutting open the tiger, and then I took an old rusty tool, and then I messed that up, changed things, bent it, rusted it, painted it, and made that look like a found object, and put that inside the tiger. So that's what I mean about found objects. I wouldn't just find an object and just use it. It has to have my imprint on it.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout all of this composing, you have a real sense of how you want things to look. I mean, like, it takes a long time for you to compose it in the way that artists, are trained to have something look, I don't know what the word is, but,
Balance.
to have it to read balanced or asymmetrical, or there's a definite read to it that feels right. I mean, they're well thought out. They're not random.
No.
But you didn't go to school for it, so how did you learn to do that?
I've always, one of the things, very fortunate growing up on Long Island. At a very young age, there would be field trips to art museums.
Ah.
I don't know, I was probably 13 years old when we went to the Brooklyn Museum of Art, and I saw Joseph Cornell's boxes, and I became obsessed with doing things inside of boxes. And just so I've always loved art. I've been to Art Basel 15 times.
I've been to you with Art Basel, and like every artist that ever lived too. So you must just be studying it constantly, or reading, or something.
I love art. It excites me. It inspires me. I don't ever try to do something just like what I've seen, but it just makes me want to do art.
Uh-huh.
So in that regard, just like if I hear a really good song, it'll make me want to do something with music.
Right.
Funny thing about music and art, I could never do what somebody else does. I could barely do what I do. I was asked to do a reunion show with my first band, and I said no, because I don't, even though I wrote the songs, I don't remember how to play them. Looking at those abstracts, if somebody said to me, oh, please do some more of those, I don't remember how I created them. You know, everything, there's a lot of happy accidents in my work, so that's basically what I do. You know, I find interesting things, interesting textures, and I push them around until they look right. And that's why it can take 20 years, because some things it just takes forever to get to where it looks like something.
Yeah. Well, I love your enthusiasm, and you're inspirational to me, and you're inspirational
You're
to...
you're a much better artist than I am.
Oh, no way. No way.
You do, I have to say, Marianne's encaustic sculptures are very original, and I've never seen anything like them, even in world-famous museums. And we go to museums all around the world, and I've never seen anything quite like Marianne's.
Well, thanks, Ian. And ditto. You know, I think your artwork is totally original, and I've never seen anything like it, and you combine all, and then the thing that you added with the music, all of the artworks that Ian makes and all of the artworks that are here at the show include an original downloadable music that is written, piece of music that is written just for that piece. So it goes with that piece. He's going to write a song that goes with your piece of artwork. I think that's amazing. It's just so cool. And I'm just really, really grateful to have you here, and it's been so much fun.
It's been awesome. Like I said, so be clear about that. And you will get the music probably with the YouTube video of the piece of art and the music, and I'll send you a file of the music. Most of it, though, hasn't been done yet. The only one that's done is the Ray Johnson one. But anyhow, thank you again.
Thank you. I love you, and I'm so happy I had you here. It's been a really fun experience, and we'll see you in the future with a new body of work.
Hope so.